Okay, finishing up part 3 this week with the art of shoulder surfing. So, the art of shoulder surfing is another social engineering method, right? Another method that uses skills that people have developed at reading what users are typing on their keyboard, for example. They gather skills and practice reading PIN numbers entered at ATM machines, for example. In fact, ATM theft is much easier than computer shoulder surfing because the keypad has fewer characters, easier to memorize. If the person throws away the receipt in the trash near an ATM machine, the shoulder surfer can match the PIN with the account number and then create a fake ATM card, right? Surfers use binoculars or even high-powered telescopes to do some of this observation. So a common tactic, it's one of the reasons I always cover up when I type in my PIN with my hand, cover it up, and I always jiggle where I insert my card to make sure it is not loose, that somebody hasn't put something on the outside of it. Now, a common tactic of shoulder surfing, and the reason they would add a device on the outside of the card scanner is so that they could read the magnetic swipe and take it away later. Take the tool away later, check the magnetic swipes, compare it to the pins. So a common tactic of shoulder surfing is using a smartphone camera to even take a picture of unaware shoppers and their credit cards, right? Be careful when you get your credit card out. And combining this technique with other techniques, for example, observing the PIN, can be very dangerous. So shoulder surfers also know the popular letter solutions that many use, right? A lot of people think for password to be P at and use dollar symbols for the S is difficult to guess, but it's not for a skilled shoulder surfer. So you want to be very careful. Also in airports, be aware the shoulder surfers, you're in tight confines, right? Maybe put a green overlay over your screen or a security lens, I would recommend. It is a physical security barrier. Now, to help prevent shoulder surfing attacks, you must educate people, right, to further reduce the risks and ensure all computer monitors, for example, face away from the door, or do some of the other techniques that I mentioned before. So there's also dumpster diving as another social engineering approach. This is used to gain access to information, but this time it's not by standing over your shoulder or near you, but it's diving into the dumpster, literally. Discarded manuals will indicate what operating system is being used or if there's an upgrade going on. Network administrators often write notes in manuals. There's phone directories, company calendars, and meeting schedules, etc. Right? So the attacker can find a lot of this information in the trash, right? So, proper trash disposal, actually, it sounds like a silly topic, but it's not. It's crucial. It's critical. So we want a clean desk policy, and then in addition to a clean desk policy, we want to make sure that things are discarded. Even hard drives, we want to make sure they're shredded, right, etc. What about DNS server drives? Huh? What about routers and the firmware? Huh? This can get very in-depth, very detailed, your approach. There's a lot of information formatted within the disk, so make sure you clean them, right? There is cleaning software that writes binary zeros on all portions of the disk, for example. And if you do use that approach, do it at least 7 times before you discard it. You want to place things in a locked room with adequate physical security. Remember the administrative controls, technical safeguards like locks and cipher pads and tokens, etc. Anything used like that should be discarded carefully because they're subject to dumpster diving. Now, the art of piggybacking. Piggybacking is there. If you have a building that's restricted an attacker can use this technique, right, called piggybacking. And so without the person realizing it, this goes on. You will watch authorized personnel enter secure areas as security tester. And then what we're going to do is count on human nature in the desire of others to be polite. For example, hold the door open, a secure door open for us. Maybe we show up with a pile of books and holding a coffee, and people just are kind, right? So this ploy usually works if the piggybacker has their hands full. Now, in addition to piggybacking, there's tailgating. And tailgating is really about the same, frankly, and they are often used interchangeably. But tailgating is often you've created a rapport with the person. Maybe you've been waiting in line and going forward, and you create a rapport with them, and that's why they let you through. Okay, so a good prevention measure against piggybacking is to use turnstiles. The best preventive measure is to train people again. Train them to notify security. Employees must feel vested, have a vested interest in the security of the organization. Remember, the whole point of physical security is if I can get access to the network. The danger of wireless is that if I can get access to the network, I can do whatever damage or steal whatever it is that I want. So employees should be taught not to hold secure doors open for anyone, right? And we have these various prevention items listed here, also discussed in the book. Now, phishing is another thing to be aware of. Almost everyone with an email address has received a phishing email. I get them myself. I get them from sites that I know I've never signed up for, and yet it says, thank you for renewing at $179, and if you didn't do this action, click this link. Ha! Not a chance. So it's usually framed as an urgent request. In that example, the phishing effort tied it to a financial cost that it thought would scare me, right? Well, it does scare me, but I know I've never signed up for it ever. So the website that you click on in that case would be fake, and you're going to lose real money is all I can say. So phishing. What's potentially more dangerous to companies is spear phishing, which is another attack carried out by email that combines social engineering with continued to exploit vulnerabilities. So this attack, spear phishing, is directed at specific people based on previous reconnaissance, all that footprinting we've been doing, and social engineering. So based on all this reconnaissance, we have decided to target specific people or groups and hook them. Right? The goal is to entice them into opening an attachment or clicking on a link. And when you do that, it's going to install spear phishing malware, right? So some security consulting companies incorporate spear phishing attacks as part of their testing period. One such tool that can be used is called Metasploit. Metasploit, Metasploit. And also you can use email authentication technologies like SMIME and PGP, as well as security awareness training. And again, just constant vigilance will help reduce this threat. So that pretty much wraps up Chapter 4. Remember, continue to get on early in your discussion. First, fill out your risk register. That as you're learning of these risks and how they tie to vulnerabilities and how you might mitigate them or address them as a security professional, and then make sure you get on the discussion board early. Share at least one of these risks. Talk about it. Why you chose it, what the vulnerability is, and how you would mitigate it or address it, or maybe what tool you would use, and give others a chance to reply and maybe learn from their inputs and add those to your risk register. Okay, that's it for this week. Thank you.